YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, or Heir of Blue Screen is it maybe tonight, and I'm here to talk to you about the reveal of Total War Warhammer 2. I've got all the legendary items that came with the High King edition, the rune necklace, the ring, the drinking horn filled full of peasants' blood from the recent campaign, spilled in honor of the lady. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about this. We got a reveal. What did we learn today? Well, we learned a few things. One of the big things we learned is that the next Total War game, obviously, is Total War Warhammer 2. We'll talk a little bit later about those who were hoping for a historical Total War versus another Warhammer, and I'll tell you kind of why I think that they went in this order and give you my thoughts on that. But let's move on to what we learned about Warhammer 2, because there is some pretty cool information out there. In the description, there will be a link to two videos. The first is this video you're watching right now, which is the cinematic reveal trailer that we got for Warhammer 2. It is on Total War's YouTube channel. I'll have a link. The next video I'm going to link you to was done by Eurogamer, where they had an interview right after this reveal with the developers from the Creative Assembly and gave us some really crucial information that I really feel like you need to know. And I wanted to make sure that they get credit for the information that I'm going to be talking about, because they are the ones that got it. So please go check out that video as well. Let's jump right into it. So, key things that we learned. There's 3 factions in the video, absolutely for certain, and another one that is basically for certain. So the 3 factions we know is that there's High Elves, Dark Elves, and Lizard Men. And right there you're seeing the Lizard Men have a little lunch on the Dark Elves. There's your High Elves. So very exciting to see these 3. Well, what's the 4th one? At the very end of the video, you'll see they definitely tease that there is Skaven involved. I don't know why else you would show a red-eyed rat at the end of the video in a very ominous way. Skaven are on the way. Now, when Warhammer 1 released, there were 4 original factions. You had the Empire, you had Dwarves, you had Greenskins, and you had the Vampires. And the Chaos Warriors came in as a pre-order DLC, or DLC for those who purchased the game later. So, is it reasonable to imagine that there will probably be 4 factions included with the game, and another one that comes as some type of add-on? We don't know if it's DLC. Again, we'll discuss that later. There probably will be 5 factions. We know that there's 4, at least there was the little Skaven teaser, so yes. I'm hoping that 5th faction may be Tomb Kings, by the way. Hoping, because I don't know why, I'm enamored with the Tomb Kings. I just think it'd be really cool to get the Tomb Kings in the game. So, I'm going to talk through some of the points that Eurogamer brought up in their video. Again, go check it out, but let's talk through what they learned and kind of further a little bit of news about, again, what we know so far. We know the game, according to the end of the video and also to tweets by Darren, Total War is going to release in 2017. My guess would probably be that it's going to be at the very earliest, probably late summer, but I'm guessing more like fall as we get into the more prime time release for video games, which is interesting to see Total War, if they do release in the holiday time period, that they are willing to go head-to-head with other titles that seem to come out every year at that time, like Call of Duty and some of the other big names. I hope they do, because I think, honestly, the Total War series, they can compete with those games head-to-head, as long as it's a game like Warhammer that was very well made, and some of the past Total Wars also, like Medieval 2 and some of the other classics. Absolutely, go head-to-head with those games, and I think you can do very well. I'm excited about that. So yes, it does come out in 2017. As we learn more about the launch date, obviously I will keep you informed. So let's talk through the 7 things that Eurogamer brought up in their interview. Number 1, the campaign maps from Total War Warhammer 1 and Warhammer 2 will be able to combine. There is a standalone campaign in Warhammer 2 because it is a standalone game in and of itself. You do not have to own Warhammer 1. But if you have them both, there is a combined mega-type campaign that I'm assuming will be somewhat like Empire Total War, where you had the option to cycle from theaters like Europe over to the American theater or over to the Indian theater. So I'm assuming that Warhammer 2 will probably work in some similar degree to that. That's just a guess on my part because there weren't any other specifics that were given. The second item they bring up is that the races from the first game will carry on over into the second game. We know that there will be greenskins, greenskins, dwarves, and men that will be showing up in the standalone campaign from the way I understood it, and also obviously in the mega campaign, right? If you combine the two, they'll both be there. And if you don't own Game 1, then the cool thing about that is that you're going to have some of these races at least show up against you to fight against them and be able to have some fun with that. The victory conditions appear, oh, and this is the third thing, so the victory conditions appear to be tied to this vortex thing that's being explored by the High Elf leader. Let's see where that part is. I'm going to skip to it if I can find it. Where'd it go? It's right here where he's investigating this crazy vortex thing. Yeah, so the victory conditions are probably going to be tied to this crazy vortex stuff. In the sense that means in the standalone campaign that another race might be able to beat you without actually wiping you off the map, which is a little bit unique for Total War campaigns because we haven't always seen something like that in the past. It's pretty cool. Though the fourth item that we're going to discuss is, yes, you can still win by map domination. That is still out there. Creative Assembly confirmed it. Great. That's something that a lot of Total War players wouldn't want to go without, and it's still there. Fifth that they discussed with the developers, DLC. Expect the DLC and free content to be similar to Warhammer 1 is pretty much what the developers told us, so a mix of paid DLC and free DLC. Well, if it's going to be like Warhammer 1, are they going to have a pre-order DLC like the Chaos Warriors? Well, as luck would have it, that was the sixth item that Eurogamer discussed with the Creative Assembly, and we were told, and I'm not going to quote it because I don't know the quote, but essentially they said, hey, look, we listened to people, we listened to what they say about the game, and they basically acknowledged that a lot of people were upset about the Chaos being a pre-order, like go-get, or even being DLC at all. And they said that what they have to offer, they feel is going to be very appropriate. That's all they really said. Again, go check the exact quote from the Eurogamer video interview, and you'll get a little bit more from it, so I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on something that I just don't know at this point. Personally, I mean, the Chaos pre-order thing, I don't like day one DLC because I think it gives off the wrong vibe, right? But at the same time, a game like Warhammer is kind of like the tabletop, right? You were always buying little figurines and adding to your collection and growing it, and so I don't necessarily think that it's that far out of the scale of reality to Warhammer that the game kind of gets sold to you in pieces or armies, because that's the way the tabletop game was. Now, there's some of you who aren't going to like that. That's fine. That's fine. You're free to choose to want your games the way you want your games. Personally, I'm quite alright with it as long as those DLC add value, which I do believe the DLC in Total War Warhammer 1 did add value, each in their own way. Each race that they added was unique. Each campaign that they added was unique. Each faction brought unique campaign characteristics with them, like for instance the way the Beastmen played versus the way the Dwarves played versus the way that Bretonnia plays. I thought that they were worth it. I thought the DLC was great and it added to the overall game itself, and if they do something similar in Warhammer 2, quite honestly, I'll be pretty happy about it. But again, the day one DLC can definitely be questionable, and quite honestly, I hope the Creative Assembly finds a way to avoid that type of controversy. It's not good, and I'd love to see the game released without controversy, because for the most part, Warhammer released in a very clean shape, in a very fun and playable fashion. Yes, there were patches, yes, there were many things that were improved, but the game released in overall good shape. What's the last thing? Well, we've already kind of mentioned it. The last thing that Eurogamer talked about was Skaven. So Skaven are coming, supposedly, based on what we see here in this little scene with the rat. So we can assume that we're going to be running into Skaven in the campaign, which is pretty exciting. A lot of people are going to be happy about that. So let me give you just a couple other thoughts while I'm on the video. For those of you who were insisting, this better be a historical Total War game. It better be historical. Well, in some ways, I'm kind of glad it's Warhammer 2 and not a historical title, and you might think I'm crazy for that, but let me explain first. So one of the reasons why I'm kind of excited for this is that I think that they're more ready to release a sequel for Warhammer than they are to release a sequel for a historical title. Let's take a look at history. Warhammer has released, it's been in good shape, it's gotten a whole lot of attention, it's been out for about a year now, and they did a good job with it. They went to a new engine, a 64-bit engine. The game has DX12 support. It added a bunch of things that we wanted. The mechanics of the way the units interact and collide with each other and everything is better. The way the unit animations work, in my opinion, is better. You don't have all this little one-on-one combat that was screwing up the way that units interacted with each other like it did in Rome and Attila. And overall, I just feel like that the game plays better and has a better flow, has better character development. There's a lot of things. The quest battles and all these different things that they added really make the game very, very fun and unique. And quite honestly, Rome 2 and Attila, I mean, Rome 2 was just, it was bad. It released, it was bad. I didn't even realize how bad it was at the time, and especially looking back on it now, having played Attila and then even Warhammer more so, Rome 2 was just bad. It was terrible. And the release of it was quite frankly unacceptable, and Attila was an improvement, but I mean, like, the optimization in that game was absolutely awful. It stressed out even the best of computers, and it was hard to run it at 60 frames a second, and that's still hard for me to run Attila at 60 frames a second, even with a very improved system. There was a lot of things left to be desired about Attila. It did do some good things. It introduced like this kind of apocalyptic, end of the world type of thing that was cool. There was the climate change and the starvation and the disease and everything. Good ideas, definitely in the right direction. But I feel like Warhammer really captured what I want from a Total War game, and how does that apply to a historical title, you all may be asking me. Quest battles are something that could definitely exist in a historical campaign and would be a whole lot of fun to add. The character development and the items they gather, all that kind of stuff could definitely be fun ways to make a historical title more fun. Take your time, Creative Assembly. Get the next historical title right. Knock it out of the park. Take us back to those days where we remember Rome Total War and Medieval 2 and Shogun 2 and all those games like Napoleon that just knocked our socks off when you brought those historical titles back. So that's what I want to see. Not a repeat of Rome 2 or even the slightly better Attila. Take your time, do it right. So that's why I'm excited that this is Warhammer 2 and not a historical Total War title, because I do not think that Creative Assembly is quite ready yet to get to that point. I think that they need to learn from what happened and really get it right. So again, that's my thoughts. What do you think? I'm excited to see what you all think. I am so pumped for Warhammer 2. Obviously, I love Total War games in general, and I've really grown fond of Warhammer, even though I still don't really do anything with Warhammer outside of Total War. I just really feel like it fits Total War, and it's really been a great installment. And obviously, I'm looking forward to the next historical title, but I am extremely excited to play this. Very happy for the announcement, and I can't wait to learn more from Creative Assembly. Again, leave me your thoughts in the comments. HeirofCarthage signing out, and I'll see you soon while we defend our world and destroy theirs, as supposedly the mantra is going.